Hey, Jesse. Okay, that sounds great. We're starting in 30 seconds. All right. Thank you. So Jesse says we're starting in 30 seconds, but we actually just started now. But we will just kind of prepare ourselves for this experience, right, Dan? And then
Yes,
we'll have a lot of fun with it. Okay. All
yes,
right. Okay.
yes. I appreciate that.
Yeah. No, it'll be good. It'll be good. Oh, got my glasses. Pour myself some more tea. My throat's a little sore, so I'm using throat coat tea.
Okay.
My throat was sore yesterday, but I still sang an hour, even though I had a sore throat. But I just kept on bumping back the tea. So yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. All right, that must be 30 seconds, right? Don't you think?
Okay.
All right.
I think
So
so.
okay, welcome to 1,000 Ways, the show where we consider Rumi's quote from 800 years ago that there are 1,000 ways to kiss the earth, and then we have a conversation like this to uncover those ways. More specifically, we want to find ways that will also reduce adverse childhood experiences. Somebody's sending me text. What are they sending me now? Start. Jesse said start. Good job, Jesse. We're on it, man. All right. So my guest tonight is Dian Douglas. And you might say, where did you meet Dian Douglas, Ellen? And Dian and I met because I wanted to try and figure out ways that we could reduce adverse childhood experiences. So I used this service called Ripen to engage universities and colleges, the bright minds of the students, to see if they could help us. Dian is one of those students. Hey, Dian, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Alan. Thank you very much for the invite.
No problem. No problem. So tell us about your studies at Centennial College. Tell us about that.
Well, my name is Dian Douglas, and I'm doing my third semester at Centennial College. I am studying social work, and my study in this semester is pretty challenging because we are basically doing virtual on Zoom. But it's an awesome experience I'm experiencing right now. In the future, after studying, I want to pursue a bachelor in social work or psychology. And I'm working forward and looking forward for that. So right now, I'm just taking it easy, relax, and doing all my studies that I'm supposed to be doing, putting things in place.
All right, sounds good. And what's the perfect career for Dian? When your schooling is all done, what's that job going to be like? What's that career going to look like?
The perfect career for me right now that I'm looking forward for is to go in the Navy to do psychology, to work with those people who are going through, who are having mental problem, those who are struggling with trauma. For example, I'm studying ACEs now, adverse childhood experiences. So I'm happy that I'm doing this right now. So in the future, I will have, I will be able to share my experience with people who are going through trauma.
Okay, you said the Navy, correct? Is that what you said?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So why the Navy? Why that?
I basically picked the Navy because there are a lot of people, there are a lot of mental problems that are happening in the Navy. For example, there are people who, after getting away from the Navy, they are going through mental problem and they don't know how to deal with it. And what happened is they don't really have people who are trying to help them to get over what they're going through. And a lot of people are going in the Navy because they're experiencing childhood trauma and they use that to kind of break their silence. So I think that we need to, or I need to be there to help those people that are struggling with childhood experiences adverse.
Understood. Understood. So now the people, so it's basically that they're entering the Navy because they've had adverse childhood experiences. But in the
Yes.
Navy, depending on what their circumstance is, they could certainly experience trauma in that occupation as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if that was the case, then that was still something where you meet them in that environment, you're still going to be of help to them in that environment as well, right? For the more
Definitely.
yeah,
Definitely.
definitely. Yeah. Cool. Cool. Well, that's an interesting career aspiration,
Yeah.
Dian. So,
Thank
hey,
you.
we should say hi to Kim, right? Your buddy Kim, who's watching, right? Hi, Kim.
Yes.
Thanks for
Hi,
watching.
Kim.
Thanks for joining us. So we've talked a lot about adverse childhood experiences, and then you were just saying with the people that you wish to help, to be a resource, to be a caring person in their lives, that kind of a thing. And that seems
Yes.
to be a very crucial part of reducing adverse childhood experiences, or helping reduce the impact of adverse childhood experiences, right? Is that connection with a caring adult. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree totally on that.
Great. And
And there
go ahead.
and there are a lot of things that we can do as an adult to help to reduce early childhood experience, people who are going through or having trauma. For example, we need a safe environment because children want to know that their environment that they're in is safe. They need someone that they can talk to, someone that they can trust. Because if they do not trust you or me, they're not going to be able to open up. So we as adults, I think we need to be a little more open to these children who are experiencing ACEs and be a shoulder for them. Be someone who they can call on. They can write a letter and even say, "Hey, Diane, I'm going through this. How can you help me?" Without you going and spread it to another adult for them to feel bad. So they need someone who they can trust.
Sure, makes really good sense, right? And someone who's not going to judge them, somebody who's just there
Mhm.
to listen and excuse me, listen and help and offer advice or support, right? I mean, maybe sometimes there's nothing you can do, but give them a hug and pat on the back, kind of a thing, right?
True.
Depending on the circumstance. So, yeah,
True.
yeah. Well, so relationships, we know that that's so important that way. And how do you think, do you have any ideas about how we can get more relationships into child's lives so that they have that support network more? You and I chatted about this the other day when we were talking. Well, no, we didn't chat about this the other day, but Dr. Bruce Perry there, he says that basically back when we were hunter gatherers, there was about 4 to 6 adults or developmentally advanced siblings or cousins or grandma, grandpa, uncle for each child. So like 5 or 6 adults for each child to support that child. So for a child's in that environment, they get all the attention and all the care and all, they're all of that, right? And now that doesn't happen so much. So he would say there's a relationship deficit. So how do you think that we might have caring adults to fill in, to backfill that relationship deficit that a lot of these kids have? You got any ideas of how we might do that?
You know what, Alan, that's a great question. And I'm presently doing the brain story certificate, and they talk about the toxic stress that kids are going through. And one of the things that stood out to me was when they said that a child can identify his mother by the breast milk, the smelling of the breast milk. So as I said earlier, building a relationship with a child is very, very important. So for you and I to have that experience with a child, we have to have that child, sit down with that child, talk to that child, let that child be open to us and tell us what he or she is going through. But at the same time, remember, the brain is where everything starts from. And if that child is not fully mentally developed, that child will not be open to you. So how can we do that? It's by allowing that child to know that whatever you're going through, it's a mental situation. Whatever you're going through, we're here for you. We're here to protect you, because children need to know that someone is there. A back is there for them to lean on. So when we open up our doors physically, we know that we're letting in this child, and we know that at the end of the day, this child might be going through a mental situation, but you're not there to judge the person, but you're there to uplift that person. So we opening up our doors and our mind to allow that child to open up to us, we will know that we're on the right track.
Got it. And back to the brain development part.
Mhm.
We've talked about this before, and I'm just going to summarize it for our viewers. Okay. So
Okay.
Dr. Bruce Perry would say that the brain develops from the brainstem to the diencephalon to the limbic to the neocortex. So that's the way that the brain develops. And a child who has
Yeah.
experienced trauma at the point in their youth could be where they're caught, if you will, in their brainstem. They can't access the other parts of their brain that are more sophisticated, that have more reasoning capacity to them, that have more intelligence there, right? If you're stuck in the
Yes.
brainstem part of your brain, you're operating more as a almost like an instinct, right? More so than thinking what the right
Mhm.
response is. So that's what you're talking about, Diane, in terms of the brain development, right? That
Yeah.
if a child gets interrupted in that level of development, that's going to be a big barrier for them to have a good life, unless people who care, people who have some skills that intervene and to help them with that, right? So
Agree.
yes. So you work with kids at Sunday school on Sundays, right?
Yes, I do work with kids
Tell us
growing
about
up.
that. Yeah, tell us about that.
Okay, so I work with kids ages from 8 to 18, 19. So basically, I meet with them on Fridays, but because of the pandemic now, we can't really host meeting. But once in the month on a Friday, I do Zoom meeting with them. So basically, my what we discuss, we don't only discuss stuff about the Bible. We discuss everyday life, things that are happening. Because what these children want to know is that they can talk to you about things that are happening in the classroom, things that are happening at home. They might not want to talk to their teachers, or they might not want to talk to their parents, but they see you as somebody who they can trust and open up with you. So I teach them certain things. I teach them how to groom themselves, because there are a lot of kids right now, they don't really know how to groom themselves, right? So when they're reaching the teenage, you want to teach them how to get a nice haircut, how to dress properly, how to take care of themselves. So I talk to them about that. I talk to them about life on a whole. What do you do if you're at school and you're being bullied? Or do you cope with that? Do you just fight back? Do you just sit down and don't do anything about it? So those are little things that I share with them, how to deal with life experience on a whole.
Got it. Got it. So how many kids would that be that you work with on Fridays or Saturdays, Sundays?
Presently, I have about 10, sometimes 12. It goes up and down. It fluctuates.
Cool. And how old are those kids?
Or some are 8, some are 10, 15, 16, and the oldest is 18.
Okay, that's a pretty big range to kind
Yes.
of to chat with all of them. They are obviously at different levels of
Yeah.
understanding and capacity that way, right? So,
Yeah.
but probably the older ones, the 18, the 15, and that kind of thing, also serve as kind of mentors for the younger ones. Does that happen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do that. I try to explore them on that too.
Yeah, yeah. I was reading a little. It was about back in the day. There were schools where all the grades were in one school, right? There was one
Okay.
classroom, and all the grades were in there, right, from grade 1 to grade 9 in one classroom, right, one building. And then basically the older ones would kind of take on like a teaching assistant role to help the younger ones, right? And then so it's kind of like a shared responsibility that way, right?
Mhm.
If you were older, you teach somebody younger, they learn it, and then they teach somebody younger than them, right? And it's kind of a cycle that way, which is pretty interesting, I think. So
Yes, that is.
yeah.
Also, the brain story certificate talks about that, teaching these young kids, and then in the future, whatever they were taught, they help the younger ones that are coming up. So that's very important to teach these younger kids good values.
Yeah, very much so. That you mentioned that brain story certification course, and for our viewers, it's a fantastic course. It's an amazing course,
It is.
and yeah, it's I don't know how long it takes to get through it, but I really enjoyed it. I learned so much from taking it. One thing I think I mentioned to you before was what really kind of surprised me was about how sophisticated the First Nations type methods of developing their kids were, right? The
Okay.
process where they'd have different ceremonies at different stages in that child's development. And then, here's kind of the path to becoming a good member of the tribe or a good human being, where this stage and then this stage and then this stage, right? So it was very kind of structured. Everybody knew what that meant to be a good part of that community, right? Or a contributing member of that community, which I think is awesome. Like that they had it. It's kind of trying to resurrect now, right? Which is good. Like, I mean, that their culture has a lot of very good, admirable type things that we might be able to copy and use to make our community better, no matter what. If it's First Nation child or a Black child or a white child, it doesn't matter. It might be something that would be applicable to all kids, is what it might be. So, yeah.
Another thing I want to touch on, Alan, is maybe our viewers are asking, who are the persons that ACEs affect. So I want to tell them that ACEs affect people from all sorts of life. But the ones who they basically affect now are low-income individuals, people of color, those identify as gays, lesbian, and bisexual. Because what happened is these people, they don't have anyone to talk to. No one really want to hear what they're going through. So it affects these people, especially those of color, those the gays and the lesbian and the bisexual. Because when someone want to talk, when they want to come out to talk, no one really want to hear, like, okay, that person is bisexual, I don't want to hear his lifestyle. And so they run with the motion, thinking that no one really cared for me. So ACEs affect these people because we don't have people who really genuinely want to be a part of these people's lives. So it affect them, and then it even affect them where it reach the point where they just sit down and eat and put on a lot of weight, or some of them think of killing themselves because no one really want to be there for them. So I just want to tell our viewers that ACEs, it affects anybody, but most of the people that are being affected are people with low incomes and people of colors and those who are gays and bisexuals and lesbians.
Yeah, no, makes really good sense. I mean, they're if somebody views them as different and things they don't understand, they're not going to want to talk to them. Well, then those people don't get support, right? And one thing too, like with COVID is something that certainly is more impacts women than men, right? Like the reality is women are in the caring occupations, childcare and nursing care and social work and end of life type care, those kind of things. And all of COVID really makes it impacts those occupations more than any other occupation, really, even in terms of the hospitality industry and stuff like that, where most of the people that work in that industry are female. Well, then if they don't have work anymore, well, then that's a big challenge, right? So yeah. Makes sense.
And also another question that they might ask is, can ACEs be prevented? Yes, ACEs can be prevented. A safe and a stable and nurturing relationship and an environment can positively impact our children. And who experience ACEs and help? All we do that is basically build a safe environment for our children that are coming up, because there are a lot of people out there that are going through trauma and we don't even know.
No,
there are a lot of countries that have people that are experiencing trauma and we don't know. Someone might be walking beside you on the street and that person is going through bad situation at home and that person doesn't have anyone to talk to. But how do we mitigate the situation is create a safe environment, create a place where these people can come and talk with people that can help them go through their situation that they're going through.
Right. Yeah. No, makes really good sense. Yeah. And poverty, when you mention about poverty, I mean, you think about if you're in a situation, like, first of all, parenting is hard work. Parenting is hard work in perfect circumstances, right? Because most of the people, when I was, well, I'm a parent still, but when I was a parent, when my daughter was young, I was more dealing with my shit, right? Things that I had to do and pay bills and work and that kind of thing. And then when that happens, you start to be too busy to pay attention to your child, right? And then they feel left out and then they feel that disregarded, that kind of a thing. So parenting by itself is hard, but then you add poverty in where you can't afford to put food on the table for your kid, or you can't keep lights in the house, or those kind of things, and then things go way worse, of course, right? So
True.
yeah, yeah.
But Alan, my question to you, why do you think parenting is hard? Why do you think that way? Because somebody would say, no, Alan, parenting for me is sweet. I enjoy parenting. Why do you think it's hard?
Well, I think it's hard in terms of knowing how to be a parent. If you
Okay.
don't, like, when we had our daughter 34 years ago, right? We're in
Okay.
the hospital and they give you this beautiful little child, and it's like now what? I don't know how to take care of this thing, right? So then you got to learn a bunch, right? And you don't always get it
Mhm.
right. And you're also maybe you should be really, really focused on that child and making sure that that child gets everything they need. But maybe you're distracted with your stuff, right? Oh, I got to call this client back and I got to do this and this broke and, those kind of things, right? Where you get distracted in it. So that's why I think parenting is hard. And
Okay.
way harder now with COVID, man, where you got kids at home all the time and maybe you're not working where normally you were, or you're in a situation where there's a lot of screaming and hitting and such like that, and you can't leave that environment because of COVID, right? There's people who are trapped in those situations now that they don't even bother reporting it because how are they going to get out of it, right? So it's a big problem that way. So
I agree. I
yeah.
agree. I agree.
Mm-hmm. All right. How far are you along on the brain story certification course?
Oh, the brain story, I'm on model 8 now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
pretty. I like it. It's decent. It's nice.
Good. Good. How many modules were there in that in total?
It's 20 in total.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're working through it, learning lots.
Yes, I am. I am learning a lot.
Nice. Nice. Excellent.
Because I didn't, and I want the viewers to know this too. I didn't know that they have bad stress and good stress. Growing up, I'm always thinking that stress is stress and all stresses are bad. But doing the certificate, I realized that there are bad stresses and there are good stresses.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so good stress would be what? Something that challenges you, but doesn't
Yes.
overwhelm you. You can still rise. Like public speaking. Do you do public speaking? You've done some of that, right?
Yes, I do. I do
The
that.
first time you were really scared, I bet, right?
Oh, yes.
But that was good stress, right? Because you practiced, you thought about it, you rose to that challenge, right? That's
Yes.
good stress. Bad
Yes.
stress is if you would have crumbled up in a ball and started crying, that would have been that you couldn't have handled that level of stress, right? But
Even being on live now is a good stress.
is it good stress? Okay, good, good. All right. So what other things in terms of resources have you learned about, Diane, that surprised you in this journey that we've been talking about this for the last couple months?
To be honest with you, I've never heard of ACEs. It's since I met you, I heard about ACEs.
Since I've like
And
talking about it all the damn time, right? Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and I even shared it with my friend Kim, who is watching. I shared it with her what ACEs are, and a few of my other friends. I shared that with them too. So this has opened up my eyes, and it has really given me the privilege to want to study more, like what is ACEs really, what causes people to go through trauma. There are people who are walking around and they're depressed. What causes that? There are people who their parents have been through divorce and it's still affecting them until today, and that's a part of ACEs too. So that's this knowing, for me, knowing about ACEs is, it's a plus. And it's challenging too, because there are a lot of researches to find out which country, what are these countries doing, and those are things that I've learned, and I'm willing and able to tell others about it, what I
Yeah.
have
Right. And that's
learned.
super important to share that messaging, right? You didn't know anything about ACEs. So now you tell other people about it. And then that raises the awareness of that, right? And then I
Yeah.
think that leads to more people saying, hey, we got to solve this. We got to make this
Mhm,
better, right? Because,
mhm.
wow, like I'm thinking if we can make life better for, let's say, a 5-year-old, let's say one of your Sunday school kids, right? And they're 5 years old, and we make their life better today. Well, that's going to be an investment that's going to pay dividends for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right? For a long time, the benefits of that intervention are going to come to fruition, right? And then further to that, the more people that we help in that manner, the stronger our community is with people who have the capacity to have good lives and are happy and are healthy and are making a difference, right? So I think that's a huge community investment as well as an individual investment. So yeah.
True. I agree with that.
Cool.
But it's a great topic. It's um it's something that I think every, especially parent too, should know, because they will have kids with them in the home that are having some sort of trauma, and they don't know that it falls under ACEs. So I think it's a good topic for to be discussed even in the churches, at home with your children, at your workplace. Yeah, I think it's important for other people to know about it.
Right. I agree entirely. And it's good to have the awareness because I believe in North America, it's 40% of adults have experienced at least one adverse childhood experience when they were a child, right? So if they're still struggling with that, right, then that makes it very difficult for them to have good lives, right? If we can intervene and help, that's a huge, huge advantage for them and for us, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and even add to that, we can even create programs, because I said basically when I finish school, I wanna talk about more about it. I want to talk more about it in my church to people, and especially the young people. I want to talk about it. I want to find ways to help these people that are going through trauma, because if I can give a helping hand and you give a helping hand, we can save lives out there. We can make this world a better place by helping these people who are struggling with these situations in their lives.
Well said, Diane. Agreed with you. Nice. That's awesome.
Thank you.
There was something I was going to tell you. What else I was going to mention to you? Oh, yeah. I sent you that email, you and Spencer and Judelle. I sent you that email today about the Community Helpers Program. So the Community Helpers Program is very similar to the concept that we were talking about, the community child advocates, right? We were basically saying, hey, you get people, caring people in the community, you give them some training, and then they go and help others, right? And this then in researching that, I found this community helpers program. Well, it's almost the same thing that we were talking about, and it already exists in the province of Alberta. So that's cool. I didn't know it existed. So I've signed up for that because if there's something I can learn from there or encourage others to access that program, just like I encourage you to access the Brain Story certification, the more that we could do of that, the more that we learn how we might be able to help others with that, right? So
is that something you have to pay for, or is just like the brain the oh, it's free?
free too.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think I should look into that too.
Yeah.
And take that course.
Well, I sent you the link for it, and then the course is an online course. I haven't taken it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be of value to take that and learn what I can from there as well. So I'm also in the middle of a course with that Dr. Gabor Mate about addiction. But man, he says almost the same things that Dr. Bruce Perry says, that people who have substance abuse problems, all of them have experienced adverse childhood experiences, right? But they have not found a way or people to help them resolve those. So then what do? They turn to something that's going to make that pain go away for just a little while, right? And that's drugs, right? So you take this hit and you don't have to think about that for an hour or 5, or I don't know how long drugs last, but you don't have to think about it. You've kind of eliminated that from your thought process so that you can kind of focus on something else other than being the trauma that you experienced previously, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. And then the thing about it is, what happened is these people who actually take these drugs, after the drugs is worn off, then they go back to the same lifestyle. So I believe as workers that are that are in the field now who are trying to help these people who are going through trauma. We have to get to the root of we have to get to the bottom of the root of what is happening, what is causing this person to behave that way. And then when we know what is the problem, then we can deal with the situation than to just giving them drugs to deal with what they're going through.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where I read this, but I think it makes perfect sense that people, children or adults, people will do the best they can with what they know and what they have, right? With the resources available to them and what they know, they're going to do the best job they can. So if there's people that are having a bigger struggle with their lives and we can share some information with them, we can increase what they know, or we can increase their access to tools, right? We can give them more to have to use to improve their health. Those two things that we can enhance their lives and help them have happy, healthy lives, right? Because is there any society in the world doesn't want their kids to have happy, healthy lives? Like that's what everybody wants, right? And as adults, we want happy, healthy lives, right? So
there's this well-known speaker. He passed away a couple of years ago in a plane crash. He died. I'm not sure if you know about him. Miles Monroe.
Don't know about him. Tell me about him.
He's from Bahamas, and he's a motivational speaker. And he said something. I always watch his stuff on YouTube, and he said something that's very important. A quote. He said, "When we die, let us die empty." And he said that means you want to know that you use yourself, you use your talent and your gift to help somebody along the way. So I want to use that quote tonight and said, when I die, I want to die empty. I want to know that the gift and the talent that I have to help somebody, I want to know that I am helping that person with that gift and talent. And if it takes a long journey, it will happen. But as long as you focus and put your mind to it, then you will be able to help whoever is going through a situation.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right. That when you die, that you die empty. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's also, what do you think of this? I was chatting with a guest the other day there, a week ago, and we were saying that his thing, and now I think it makes sense to me, is that we are a spiritual being who's having a human experience. So right now, we came into the world as spirit. Now we're in this body, right? And then we have this human experience. And when we die, we return back to spirit. So we're basically spiritual beings having this human existence. Do you think that makes sense?
It does, because a man, and when I said man, it's neither male or female. It's just a man on a whole.
Right.
It's the way we were created. We were created with a body, soul, and spirit. Right. So when the spirit, when you die, your body goes back to the ground. Your spirit and your soul go back to your creator. So I do agree with what the person said to you.
Right. Now, his perception of creator is probably a little bit less a big guy with a white beard in the Bible. His probably
different from you and I.
Yeah. But it is certainly in terms of that this spirituality that encompasses all, right? Encompasses all living things, kind of a thing, right? That's kind of his vision of spirituality, right? So it doesn't change the thought process. You know, you were spirit, now you're going to be back to spirit, kind of a thing. It doesn't change that process. It's just maybe the perception of what that spiritual entity, God, Allah, Buddha, whatever that spiritual entity is that you believe in. So you're Christian? Is that correct?
Yes, I am. Yes,
okay,
I am.
Got it. So for you, it's God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit. Hallelujah.
And what is for you?
It's a little bit more of a general force kind of a thing, right? I think it's kind of like that every living thing has embedded in it intelligence and compassion and empathy. And then we access that. If we're open to that, we can access that force that makes our lives a better life and our capacity to contribute to others easier because we have the capacity to do that. It's something like that. And then it's kind of,
Okay.
it's maybe a little Star Wars-ish, about the
Okay.
force and the dark side. It's kind of like
Yeah.
that. But I think the force is always wins, is what I think is kind of how it
But
works.
you know what, Alan? We are all different people, and we all have our own thoughts and things, our own opinions. And but what I don't like is when you're not you, but someone would say my opinion is better than yours. You're wrong. I'm right. Like we all want to know who we want to worship, but at the end of the day, at least they have someone worshiping, right?
Yes, exactly. That's the good news.
Yeah.
They have some kind of spiritual relationship, no matter who,
Yes.
no matter. Yeah, I agree entirely. Yeah.
Hmm.
Actually, I don't know if you're interested in this, but there's this song by Paul Thorne that speaks to that very, very well. And
Hmm.
it's called, what's it called again? Just wait. You may be wrong is what it's called. And so he goes through basically about these little religious beliefs and say, hey, don't be so sure that yours is the only way. There might be other ways, right? So kind of like there's 1,000 ways to kiss the earth. Maybe there's 1,000 ways to have a spiritual relationship as well, right? So
I guess there's 1,000 ways to do a lot of stuff.
exactly. I think there is. I think there is. So for the people who think that there is only one way and they know it and everybody else is wrong, if they
Yeah,
don't agree with them, okay, that's not, they have to have a little bit of a latitude there. So yes.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
Okay, cool. Cool. You want to hear that song?
Sure.
All right. I'm gonna sing it for you. I'm gonna put
Okay.
my headphones on so I can hear better, okay? You
All right.
ready?
No problem.
All right.
No problem.
Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, and Jews all got their own versions of the truth. There's a line in the sand, there's a war going on. They forgot to remember they might be wrong. Carry your faith wherever you go. Mix it with love and let it show. But keep your eyes open as you move along. Always remember you might be wrong. That's it. Well, there's more to it, but that's just a little taste of it there. And then he goes on.
Intriguing.
Yeah, yeah,
Intriguing.
yeah. I like the song. So
Okay.
now
Sounds
this
good.
guy, Paul Thorne, his dad was a preacher and his uncle was a pimp. That man had a pretty interesting life growing up, eh?
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what a pimp is?
I do.
Okay. Well, I just like you're like you Jamaican is your first language, right? Correct?
Yeah, English patois.
English what?
In Jamaica, we speak the patois.
Passois?
Patois. Patois.
Patois.
Yes.
Okay. What does that mean?
Well, it's basically our mother tongue. For example, if I want to say I am not coming, I would say "mina come."
Me not come.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, cool. That's a language I could probably learn.
Yeah. Or if I want to say "go away" in my mother tongue, I would say "go away."
Go away. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. Okay. All right.
Yes.
So when did you come to Canada? How old were you when you came to
I
Canada?
I came to Canada 13 years now.
13 years.
Yes.
And will you ever go back to Jamaica or do you like Canada?
I do like Canada. I love Canada, but there's no place like home. But to say to go back to live there, I don't think so.
No. No.
There are a lot of crimes. There are a lot of crimes going on down there, and it's a little scary. But I
Got it.
visit. I was down there last year summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so why is there a lot of crime, do you think, in
You
Jamaica?
know what? I think when it comes on to jobs, there are a lot of people who are not working, so they tend to rob those who are working, and sometimes they kill them. Sometimes they don't. And I think it has to do with drugs too, because I read earlier the story about that happened on Sunday where gunmen went into this community and killed the 81-year-old lady and the grandkids. They basically executed them. And for no reason, the family said they have never been in any bad situation with anyone. So that was really, really, really bad.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine where somebody has to be in their head, in their life, to go and think that solution makes sense, that act makes sense, right? How could you, like, I can't see how you could get to that stage that would make sense, right? But I'm not in that situation, right? Like, that's kind of
Yeah.
how do you understand that? It makes no sense. So
Yeah, it's sad. And I always, when I just came here, I thought of going back to make a difference in the community when it comes on to the young people.
right.
But you have to be careful because when you go down, people think that you have money and they want to rob you and kill you. So I try to be careful.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Is a lot of your family still in Jamaica?
My mom and sisters, I have two sisters back home and a brother and my mom and my dad, he lives in the States.
He lives in the States. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Interesting. So,
Yes.
what else do we want to talk about, Diane?
Um, I'm not too sure. I don't know if you have anything else on the agenda that you want us to discuss.
You'd think I would, but I actually don't have an agenda. I just start the camera rolling and then we talk. So
Sounds good. The next thing I would want to do though, I'm not sure if I can invite my other friends to join you on your next TV show, like to come up with a topic and talk about, for example, about Black lives. I'm not sure if you're interested in that. I could add a few friends and we come online. You could just let me know and I send the link to them and they would be the guests for the next show that we're gonna have.
sure, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I read just recently this Dr. Peter Kellett is a professor here in Lethbridge. And I watched some of his sessions that he did with his presentations he did. And one thing he said made real perfect sense to me is in that privilege is invisible to those who have it. Okay. I have
Okay.
privilege. So I don't think I have privilege, but I do, right? And so exposing myself or learning from others who don't have privilege, what their life is like, right? And if you're darker in complexion, or if you're a female, or if you're LBGTQ plus, I can't remember all the things,
Yeah.
LBGTQ and other stuff,
Yeah.
whatever you are, I don't understand that because I'm kind of, not that I'm not trying to, it's just that that's not where my head is, right? That's not what, I didn't grow up with that. I just don't get it, right? So to discuss, so that was a long little thing to say, yeah, I'd be interested in chatting with your
Yeah.
friend about Black Lives Matter,
It's about seven of us. We call ourselves the Black Squad.
the Black Squad.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me more.
It's just a group of friends. We come together. We're from different countries, and we name ourselves that. So we work together in school, and we cry together. We laugh together. I just want to say hi to them: Deshaun, Kim, Ruba, Madison, Philip, and Juliana. So these are us, seven of us. We work together as a team. So that's why I was telling you earlier that it's good that we could invite them on the show and we have a little talk about Black Lives Matters. I think your
Hello?
camera was a little, I think your camera was a little frozen.
Yeah, well, yours too. We had a little drop in internet there where we both went off.
Oh,
So, but we're all
oh
back.
yeah.
So, you were telling me there's 7 of you. You're all black,
Yeah.
obviously, right? To be the black squad. And then,
Well,
but you
we're only one person who's not black, but she's in the squad.
so how did you let her in if she's not black? How did she make the cut?
You know what? It's just a mistake in terms of the name that we had was supposed to be the block, as in choosing our block for school, and it ended up
Okay.
turning into black instead of block. It ended up turning into black. So that's how we actually came up with the name Black Squad. But you will learn more about them on the show when you send out the link for me to get them on. But I'll discuss it with them, and then
Sure.
we'll take it from there, and I'll let you know.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to have that chat. I'm sure I would learn a bunch, right? So that's good.
Yes.
That's good. So what does your group do? You get together and
We do a lot of stuff. We haven't been meeting up with each other because of the pandemic, but
right.
normally when it's the ending of the semester, we will meet and have dinner, have fun, take pictures. We'll talk about anything that affecting us, life on a whole. So yeah, those are friends that I met while I'm studying.
Got it. Got it. I met this young black woman in Lethbridge. Her name's Iso Ogumbor. And I met her through Rotary. And then one thing she said to me, she said, "Yeah, you're like my favorite old white guy." I said, "Oh, well, thank you, I guess."
Oh, that's nice. That's
Yeah,
a
that was
good
a
compliment.
nice compliment. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I needed the old part of that, but that's okay. It's true.
Yeah.
So yeah. Cool. Well, I would enjoy doing that. I think that would be great.
Yeah, you'd like it. You'd
Good.
like it.
Good. Yeah, we will do that. It doesn't have to be at this time, but I generally do this 7, my time 7, your time 9, 7 p.m. on Wednesday nights is normally what I do. So it doesn't have to be
Okay.
then. We can choose a different time, but that's normally when I
Okay.
do this. So yeah.
I'll find out from them, and then it will be a good exposure for them.
Yeah,
It'll be a
sure.
good, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll find out from them and then keep you posted.
Okay, so maybe I could be like an honorary member of the Black Squad for a night, right? Would that be okay?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, that would be fine for you.
Okay, cool. That's good to hear. So,
Yes.
all right. So, anything else we should share with our viewers about what we learned about ACEs?
Another thing very important thing I want to just quickly share before I go is
Sure.
that email you sent about the young man with the gun.
Yes.
And how I read it, and it really touches my heart to know that ACEs or trauma affect people even when they get older.
Right.
And if you don't deal with it, the cycle goes on and on and on and on. And the part that stood out to me was when he wanted to hold that gun and he couldn't, because he started remembering what happened with the gun growing up. So
Right.
I'm just saying this to someone that you might be out there and you're feeling down, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling as if you just want to end life, because in this pandemic, the mental health is going sky high. Some people have lost their lives, some people just cut off like that. I
Yeah.
just want to say there's still hope out there. Find someone that you can talk with, find someone that you can trust, find someone that you can depend on, and just be open and allow yourself to be free. Take a walk if you feel like you want to give up. Just take a walk, listen to something that will motivate you. If you're somebody that like to exercise, go for a walk. If you're somebody who likes to listen to music and you're down, you feel depressed, you just turn on your radio or your iPod or whatever it is and just suit your soul.
Yeah, makes sense. Self-care, looking after yourself,
Yeah.
super important now, right? Because
Yeah.
like what COVID has really revealed is the people who are kind of like on the edge already, right? You know, that their employment was maybe a little tenuous, their health is a little bit tenuous, their income's a little tenuous. Then this comes along and now like life is really bad news for them, right? Like it seems
Yes.
like I don't know if you know this, but my day job is that I'm an employee benefit specialist. So I help companies set up programs to keep their employees healthy, right? Employees and their dependents healthy. And then those programs, the employers fund them to keep their employees healthy and the families healthy so that those folks can have better lives, but then also so that that employee has the capacity to serve, like he has the health, he or she has the health and well-being that they could serve the customers well, right, for that employer. So that's kind of what those things, those that I do that way. And um and I've been checking in with my clients to say, hey, how are things going? And how's things working? The vast majority of them, it's they've adjusted and they're doing okay, right? Like life is
Mhm.
all right. But there's probably about a third of them, things are very, very challenging now, right? There's another third, like me, it's actually better. Life right now is better because I have more time to do self-care, to meditate, to sing, to spend some time in the hot tub, to cook with my wife, to do things like that that in the past I never had time to do. So now I have this extra
Yeah,
time on my hand and my days are pretty damn pleasant, right? And I'm glad my days are pleasant. I hope that I can also be of value to others whose days are not so pleasant right now. So
sounds
yeah.
good. You know what, Alan? Quickly too, I want you to. I remember when I just met you, you sent an email saying talking about your personal vision. I want you to just share with your viewers and your listeners what that means to you. So those who really want to feel like giving up when they think of those words, they will feel a little better. I don't know. We're muted. It's nothing. Nothing is going on. I'm not hearing nothing. Nothing. There's nothing out of nothing. Nothing.